Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's working. Okay. All right. All right. Good to see everybody again. Back to home, back to God. Okay. So today is the commemoration of the disappearance day of Srila Narottama Das Thakur. So that's who we're going to speak about this morning. His Grace. What's that? Cough drop. Is it vegetarian? I don't fish. So we're going to chant the prayers to the part of the Vaishnavas. Ye Anilo Prema Badana Koruna Prachur Ye Anilo Prema Dana Koruna Prachur Hena Prabhu Kotakela Acharya Thakur Kahamora Swaruprupa Kaha Sanatan Gahadaso Raghunatha Patita Pavan Kahamura Matajuga Kahatavira Ekakale Kotagela Gora Nataraj Pashane Kutivo Mata Anale Pashibo Goranga Guneranere Tagele Pabo. Se sabas hangir sange ye koilo vilas. Se sangana paya kandehi Narutamudas. Ye andilo prema dana koruna prachur. Jayacharya Thakur, Jayacharya Thakur, Jayacharya Thakur, Jayacharya Thakur. Jaya Narottamadas Thakur, Narottamadas Thakur, Narottamadas Thakur, Narottamadas Thakur, Narottamadas Thakur. Jai Om Vishnu Pad. Paramahansa Paravitakacharya, Ausuteta Sitashi Shimad, His Divine Grace, Abhaya Chantanad of Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharshila Prabhupada Kijai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Kijai, Anandakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Kijai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Kijai, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Kijai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kijai Vrindavanam Kijai Maturadam Kijai Jagadata Sami Kijai Yamunamai Kijai Shrimati Lasi Devi Kijai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Kijai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaur Mani Pacharni Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Dejatarni. So we'll read the translation first. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where is such a personality as Srinivasa Acharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishna's Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter to the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottamadas simply weeps. So today, as I mentioned, is the commemoration of the disappearance day of Narottamadas Thakur, great devotee, second generation from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, And one of the three great acharyas, Narottama Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, and Shaimananda Goswami, who took instruction from Jiva Goswami and propagated Krishna consciousness in other places other than Vrindavan, especially in Bengal. So here's the story of Narottama Das Thakur. Narottama Das Thakur's story begins with the story of his Guru Maharaj. So that's an appropriate place to start the story. So Narottama Das Thakur's Guru Maharaj was Lokanath Goswami. And Lokanath Goswami was an associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lokanath Goswami was so attached to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his householder pastimes, because devotees generally, they do not like to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a renounced situation. Why don't they allow like that? Because they want to see him enjoying, just like on the altar, those temples who have Gauranika deities, you don't dress Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like a sannyasi. It would be highly inappropriate to dress him as a sannyasi. You dress him as a householder, and actually very, very opulent dress. And in the early days of the movement, I did make the mistake of dressing Lord Chaitanya when I was taking care of Gauranika deities as a sannyasi. I made a danda for him and everything. But, little did we know at that particular time. So, anyway, so Lokanath Goswami did not want to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a sannyasi. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood this. And therefore, he sent him out of the Navadvip area, specifically to Vrindavan, before Lord Chaitanya took sannyas. And so Lokanath Goswami had tried to meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu several times. For example, one time he tried to meet Lord Chaitanya in South India when he heard Lord Chaitanya was in South India, so he went to South India. Then he found out that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone to Vrindavan. So then he went back to Vrindavan, and then he discovered Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Benares. And so he heard a voice. Lord Chaitanya instructed him that just stay here in Vrindavan. This is your Prabhu Datta Desh. Prabhu Datta Desh means the place given to you by your spiritual master for serving Krishna. This is really important. Prabhu Datta Desh. Of course, a sannyasi is supposed to travel. But in any case, he and his great associate, Bhugarva Goswami, remained in Vrindavan, and they actually prepared the groundwork for the other Goswamis, specifically the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who later on came and they, Nana Shastra Vicharana Nipano, Siddharma Samstapako, they perused the various literatures, and they established Sat Dharma for all of us. All right. So then here, let's get to Narottama Das Thakur, but then we'll talk about Lord Chaitanya first. Actually, one point about Lokanath Goswami first is that Lord Chaitanya appeared in a dream to Lokanath Goswami and told him, just stay in Vrindavan and Narottama Das Thakur will become your disciple. Of course, Lokanath Goswami had taken a vow at that time never to accept any disciples. Now, this is very interesting. Why did he take that vow? Because he was very humble and thinking, first of all, I'm not qualified to give initiation. Secondly, that if I accept any disciples, it will go to my head. And therefore I'll become proud, and therefore I won't be able to taste the nectar of the holy name. So this is a great danger in devotional service, pointed out by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that as one attains different positions or advancement in devotional service, one can become very proud. Because people are worshiping him, people are respecting him, and one begins to really take their word verbatim, Someone says you're wonderful. Okay, I'm wonderful. Someone says you're intelligent. Okay, I'm intelligent. So devotees should sort of not be attracted to any sort of praise and actually be averse to hearing praise. In fact, the statement is that he who praises me is my enemy. He who chastises me is my friend, or criticizes me is my friend. Anyway, it's the disciple's business to praise the spiritual master. However, the spiritual master has to think very, very deeply, understanding that whatever the disciple sees is because his guru, the spiritual master's guru, was actually acting through the spiritual master. And Krishna is empowering. It's just like one should consider oneself to be like the plug in the wall, or as they say in Australia, New Zealand, because I'm used to those words now, the PowerPoint. In other words, if it's connected, it has juice or electricity in it. And if it's not connected, then it's useless. So that's how the bona fide guru should be thinking. That somehow or other Krishna's given me this service, he's empowered me to do this service. However, it's not me, it's Krishna. Okay. So anyway, so Lokanath decided, I'm not going to accept any disciples. So getting to the point of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before Narottama Das Thakur appeared, visited the birthplace of Narottama Das Thakur, which is known as Keturi, and it's on the banks of the Padma River. And so when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited this Keturi, which is actually in East Bengal or Bangladesh right now, he cried out, Narottama, Narottama, Narottama. Narottama means the best of persons, basically. And he said, I'm depositing, this is what the biographers state, he said, I'm depositing my prema. It's called hagiography, isn't it? Hagiography means, anyway, the biography of great saints. And sometimes things are a little bit exaggerated. But in any case, the story goes that he deposited his prema, which means love, in the Padma River, and he described Narottama Das Thakur to Lord Nityananda at that particular time. So later on, Narottama Das Thakur took birth in Keturi, and the astrologer predicted when Narottama Das Thakur was born that he would be the best of men, therefore he was called Narottama. Usually people get their names based upon the astrologer's predictions in India. So that's also why generally Srila Prabhupada would, when he was giving devotees spiritual names, he would usually use the first letter of their original name. So people ask, why did Prabhupada do that? Because Prabhupada was accustomed to the Indian system in which someone got a name based upon the first letter or the first syllable in the name, and then the person's name would actually be given in terms of that. You understand? Of course, in the West, it doesn't matter. I remember when I first started initiating disciples, I sometimes did not do that. And one of the other gurus says, come on, how can you not do that? And I said, Prabhupada sometimes didn't do it either. So don't worry about it. But as far as people from India, generally, it's better to stick with the first initial of the first name and giving them a name. But people from the West, it doesn't really matter. Just like when I was initiated, of course, I have the first initial of my name, my Kari name is the same as my spiritual name. But many other people who got initiated at the same time as me, everybody was called Bir, which is B-I-R, not B-E-E-R. Everyone was called Bir, and basically they didn't have the same first name in terms of their legal name, first initial, beginning the first name, as far as their legal name. So, Anyway, so Narottama Das Thakur's astrology was that. And Narottama Das Thakur, as a great devotee of the Lord, a Nityasiddha devotee, refused any sort of rice at his grain ceremony. That is, until it was offered to the Lord. And he was the son of very rich personalities. His father's name was Raj, which means king, Krishnananda, and his mother's name was Narayani. They were king and queen. So at 12 years old, Narottama Das Thakur had a dream, and Lord Nityananda in his dream said to him, "Go to the Padma and bathe." And so he went to the Padma River, bathed, and he came back and he was completely changed. He was basically exhibiting a golden complexion when he came out. His parents would hardly recognize him, and he became very apathetic to material life. This is actually a symptom of Krishna consciousness, that one becomes nirapeksha. Nirapeksha means apathetic, not adverse. There's a difference between apathetic and adverse. Averse means one becomes negative about material life. In other words, you're simply like a Mayavadi. This is Maya, that is Maya, everything is Maya. But that's a symptom of spiritual advancement, that you're no longer interested in decorating your body, no longer interested in acquiring things for this material body, now no longer interested in earrings or nose rings. I was giving a class in India, and in India, all the ladies dress very nicely, nose rings. I had to apologize to them. Not after class, I said, "I apologize, ladies, but this is what life is all about." So his parents felt great anxiety seeing him in such a condition. And so they hired some chokidars. For those who don't know what a chokidar is, that means bodyguards or guards. And Narottama Das Thakur was kept in basically house arrest at that time. Like sometimes you have the criminals, they're allowed to go home, and they wear this little thing on their ankles. And so they're in house arrest. So he was basically in house arrest. So, but he was allowed to associate with some devotees there. There was a devotee named Krishnadas who kept telling him about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. It also told him about Srinivas Thakur. So then Narottama Das Thakur had a dream, and Lord Chaitanya appeared to him in the dream and said, "You will be initiated by Lokanath Goswami." So one day, he escaped from his home and went to Vrindavan. So by this time, Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis had passed away, but he dreamt that, actually, no, he didn't dream, but Srinivasacharya had a dream that Narottama Das was coming the next day. So Narottama Das Thakur met the Goswamis who were still there, which is Lokanath Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and some of the other Goswamis. And he met Lokanath Goswami. And Lokanath Goswami refused to give him initiation. And so instead of just taking the no answer from his prospective guru, he decided to serve his guru and impress his guru with his service attitude. So Narottama Das Thakur would clean his guru's latrine every day. Of course, he didn't tell his guru he was doing this until his guru just saw that happening. One day he just was wondering who was cleaning my latrine, and then he discovered Narottama Das Thakur was doing that. But Lokanath Goswami was very, very reluctant to give him initiation. So after about 1 year of this service, Lokanath Goswami has a dream, and in that dream, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to him and said, give Narottama Das Thakur initiation. Forget about your vow of not taking disciples. So then Lokanath Goswami sent Narottama Das Thakur to be trained to Srila Jiva Goswami, who was also there in Vrindavan. And he was trained along with Shaimananda Goswami and Srinivas Acharya. So this is very interesting because this relates very much with Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru. And according to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru are given equal respect and equal but different manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Diksha Guru is someone who gives you initiation. Shiksha Guru is someone who gives you instruction in Krishna consciousness. Technically speaking, the Diksha Guru is considered to be the Guru manifesting Sambandha Gyan. Sambandha Gyan means knowledge of the different tattvas, like the Jiva Tattva, Vishnu Tattva, Shakti Tattva, and their interrelations or relations with each other. That's Sambandha Gyan. And the Shiksha Guru is Abhideya Gyan, which means the process of devotional service, how to chant, how to perform archana, all these things like this. And then finally there's prayojana. And prayojana, of course, the Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru could also teach about prayojana. It's not limited. They're not limited to one particular aspect of devotional service. But generally, prayojana is under the jurisdiction of Gopinath and Srimati Radharani. So that's Narottama Das Thakur's Shiksha Guru was Srila Jiva Goswami. So then, as he was taking instruction from Srila Jiva Goswami, he learned about the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and specifically helped copy the books of the Goswamis, and he was given the task, along with Srinivas Acharya and Shyamananda, of taking the Goswamis' books, or at least copies of the Goswamis' books, to Bengal to preach Krishna consciousness. And actually, they kept some of the books, some of the original books are actually in a samadhi called the Grunt Samadhi, which is right at Sanatana Goswami's mandir in Vrindavan, right on a place called Dwadasadicha Tila, or Dwadasadicha Hill. So, Grunt Samadhi means the books are actually encapsulated or put within some sort of concrete or stone samadhi. It's actually shaped like a dome. Anyone who's been there. I don't know. I was just thinking, hopefully someone can open it up before the books disintegrate, isn't it? Anyway, I know we're not supposed to desecrate samadhis, but it'd be actually nice to see those books and preserve them. Anyway, so there's copies of the books anyway. So these books, the copies of the books that were taken to Bengal were stolen by a king named Virahamvira. He's a very heroic king. And so this king Virahamvira was a dacoit, and he was given instruction by his astrologers that the personalities who were bringing this chest on an ox cart, and the chest was actually full of jewels. And so when he discovered the actual jewels were the Goswami's books, he later on closed the chest, and later on Srinivasacharya came, and Srinivasacharya became his guru, and Srinivasacharya recovered the books. That's a whole story in the biography of Srinivasacharya. So then Narottama Das Thakur, after he came back with the books, he visited Navadvip Dham, and while he was in Navadvip Dham, he had a vision. It's called a spurti, is the technical name for it, in which he envisioned Navadvip as it was when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was present with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then he went to visit Janavamata, the wife of Lord Nityananda, and also Vasudha, the other wife of Lord Nityananda. He visited Ekachakra, and Lord Nityananda, who had taken the disguise, because at that time Lord Nityananda had left this world, he took this disguise of a Brahmin, guided him around Ekachakra. And then he manifested his form as Balaram. Wow. So then he went back to Ketari to preach. And when he was in Ketari, he had a dream. And he dreamt that there was a deity in what they call in India a godown. That's a warehouse, for those of you. Godown. Interesting word. I think it's a British word. It's not actually Hindi. So he went to the godown, and he said to the person who was in charge of the godown, which is filled with rice, I want to go in there. And the person said, no, please don't go in there. And he said, there's deities in there. And the person said, yes, but there's actually very poisonous snakes in there. So Narottam Das Thakur, being fearless, went in there, and the snakes, of course, slithered away. And he discovered deities in there of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vishnu Priya, and there was in Radha and Krishna also deities. There were actually 6 deities that were discovered within this godown. So he arranged a very big festival in Ketari, and this is the first really, really big festival of Gaur Purnima. There were other festivals before, like you hear about Hriday Chaitanya, like that, his festival, but this is the first really big festival of Gaur Purnima. And in this festival, there were 6 deities installed, and the main acharya at that time, for those of you who are chauvinistic, was Janavamata, the wife of Lord Nityananda. And so, I mean, there were other ladies who were acharyas after this particular point, like one of Srinivasa Acharya's daughters actually became a guru after this, not at this particular point. So Janavamata was leading the whole program. Isn't it? I mean, that's our tradition. She was leading the whole program and giving instruction to Narottam Das Thakur and all of the associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who were still on the planet at that particular time, because she was the senior devotee. I remember this is something that happened recently after I left India. One of the devotees from America was, there's interesting little politics. One of the devotees from America was showing slides to the Indian leaders about our accomplishments in North America. One of our leaders, one of our GBC members. So he was showing slides about all the, the different book distribution, this happens in North. So, people would see that we're not just completely in Maya in North America. So he was thinking, oh my God, all the leaders here are MEN or MALE. I'm spelling so no one will understand what I'm saying. So he was thinking they were all males. So let me take that slide out about, the women and what they're doing in the women's ministry. So he took that out. And he said that to us on the internet. This is after I left India. And actually some of the ladies chastised him. So anyways, so interesting. But at this particular time, if a lady was Krishna conscious, a man was Krishna conscious. Kiva vipra, kiva nyasi, shudra kenanoi, Krishna tattva veta se guru hoy. There was actually no restriction. I mean, generally, the ladies didn't because they were more shy by nature. Because in America, that doesn't apply shyness. So anyway, so generally they didn't. And because it was more, the culture was different in the sense that the men would go out and they'd be making the money and they'd doing the Brahminical stuff, and the ladies would take care of the children. And in one sense, not to be chauvinistic, when a child is taken care of by the mother full time, the child grows up, grows up and becomes much more stable later on in life. So this is just practical. And when a child is just sent away to daycare, well, you're rolling the dice. Anyway, so during this particular festival, Narottama Das Thakur was chanting, and his kirtans were very much different than the kirtans we have nowadays. Of course, he also chanted Hare Krishna, but his kirtans were Leela kirtans. So he'd be having a kirtan, and we hear some of the books, some of the songs of Narottama Das Thakur, many of them which we chant every day. And so during these kirtans that were portraying the Leelas of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates appeared during the kirtan in Keturi. And so everybody was in ecstasy, and when the kirtan stopped, then the associates disappeared. There was also a very big Holi festival there. Some devotees complained we shouldn't celebrate Holi. And everybody was throwing red dye on each other and different colored dye on each other. So, very, very a wonderful festival. Then everybody went home, and as I mentioned before, Janavamata was the main spiritual personality there. And sometimes people would take shelter of Janavamata, and she would put her feet on their head. So, there wasn't that type of chauvinistic discrimination at that time. So anyway, so later on after the festival, the Brahmanas started to complain. What do they complain about? They said that Narottama Das Thakur is initiating people, and he's from a Shudra family. It was called a Kayashta family. Even though his father was a king, his mother was a queen, it was considered, Kayashtas were considered like Shudras by caste. So they went to the king to complain about Narottama Das Thakur. And they went to the king. King's name was Narasingha. He's a lion man, or Lord Nrsingadev. So Nrsinga, sent some scholars to defeat Narottama Das Thakur. There was one scholar named Rupa Narayana Chakravarti. He was a big, big scholar, and nobody could defeat him. So, he was on his way to see Narottama Das Thakur in Keturi to have an argument with him. In the meantime, some of the disciples of Narottama Das Thakur, along with one of his nephews, Ramachandra Kaviraj and Ganga Narayan Chakravarti, decided to head off this apparent attack, the Brahminical attack. And they went to the village right before Keturi, and they set up shop as shopkeepers for basically selling pan and some other things that people would buy on the road. So this Rupa Narayana, he went to the shop, and he said, I want to buy some pan, whatever. Everybody took pan at that time. Betel nut and pan. Even though it's intoxication, one shouldn't take those things. So anyway, so he went to the shop, and then they started to speak to him. This Ramchandra Kaviraj started to speak to him in very high Sanskrit. And so, Rupa Narayan was thinking, who's this guy? And he said, who's your guru? He said, well, Narottama Das Thakur is my guru. He instructed me in all the aspects of Sanskrit and everything else. So Rupa Narayan had some second thoughts at that time, and then that night when he took rest, he had a dream, and Durga appeared to him, because he was a worshiper of Durga. And she said, I will kill you unless you surrender to Narottama Das Thakur. So, under duress, he surrendered to Narottama Das Thakur, and then he arranged later on that the king, that means King Narasingha, and the king's queen were initiated by Narottama Das Thakur. Also, that's interesting because the ladies at that time were also initiated. So it's quite interesting because we're still having this conversation with our friends in India about this, about the position of women and Krishna consciousness, and somehow or other people seem stuck on a particular point. But anyway, it's not the time for this in class. So then something else happened really interesting. Here's a story of Chand Roy. Chand Roy was a dacoit. His father was a devotee. But Chand Roy, his father was like a king, and Chand Roy was a dacoit. He used to hurt people, steal people, and he became ghostly haunted. So Narottama Das Thakur was approached by the father of Chand Roy, who asked him, please have mercy upon my son. The son was basically almost like an epileptic fit at this particular time, being haunted by ghosts. And Chand Roy became a great devotee at that time by the mercy of Narottama Das Thakur, even though he was a dacoit before. Dacoit means criminal. So he became extremely humble. And so as soon as this dacoit, previous dacoit, became humble, there was a king who was a Yavana. I guess that means a Turkish guy. Usually that's what it means, or a non-devotee. So this Yavana king took advantage, imprisoned him, and attempted to torture him. And what happened is that the father of Chand Roy was thinking of a way to get Chand Roy out of prison, so he employed a Shakta, someone who worships the energy of the Lord, someone who worships Durga, to save Chand Roy and help him escape. So this Shakta was able to use his left-handed tantra to enter the same prison which Chand Roy was in. And he said, come on, I'll take you out. Somehow they whisk you through the airwaves or whatever way they were going to do that. And Chand Roy said, no, I will never accept service from the demigods. I will only worship Krishna. I'm not going to worship the demigods, because the Shakta wanted him to chant some Durga mantra. So Chand Roy just remained in prison, and the Yavana king thought, I'm going to kill him, so I'm going to have him trampled by an elephant. So they sent an elephant there, some mad elephant, and Chand Roy just grabbed the trunk of the elephant, is the nose, big nose, and he ripped it out from the elephant. I mean, don't try that. And the elephant died. And so the king got very humble, and he released Chand Roy. It's a good warning. Narottama Das Thakur is also famous for his relationship with Ramachandra Kaviraj, who was a disciple of Srinivasacharya. It's described they were inseparable. In fact, there's one story told by the biographers that Ramachandra Kaviraj refused to even go visit his wife. And Narottama Das Thakur ordered him, they were together in some temple, ordered him, you go and see your wife. Okay. So what happened is he walked about, 30, 40, 50 paces, and he couldn't go any further. And Ramachandra Kaviraj just started sweeping the ground in front of the temple. And Narottama Das Thakur looked and saw that he had disobeyed his order, and Narottama Das Thakur and Ramachandra Kaviraj, feeling so guilty, started beating himself. And Narottama Das Thakur said, you're like beating me by beating yourself. And he said, therefore you don't have to visit your wife. Okay. On that happy note,
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindadalaya Taksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Bhagom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Vipan Vikayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami 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 Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Sajid Yasona Beo Lukala Davamanaham Param Prishtamat Yantacho Druchakoya Rudantumbu Netra Yugwam Rijandam Rambujakyu menagot satangone thram. Mushashakam patre regangakanta Ditagraivandamodaram bhakti vadam. Iti triksalila bir ananda kunnehe sakusham limajandam akyapayantam. Jade sita kesu bhaktani jagatam bunak prematas tam shato rijivande. Bhaktani jagatam bunak Varam deva moksham na mokshavati maha nachanya vrine ham vareshada piya. Mokshavati maha Idam te vapur naka gopala bhagala sadame manas yavirastam kimanjay. Idam te mukpam mojam achanta nirlai ritam kundalai snigdha rataisya gopya. Mos chumbitam bimba rakta dadame manasya virastam magalam lakshalabai. Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabho Dukkha Janabdi Magnam Dharananta Vishnu Kripa Drishti Vishdati Dinambatanu Grahaneshama Magyame Yakshi Drisha Dinambatanu Kuverat Bajau Vada Yujaiva Yadvat Wayan Mochi Tao Bhakti Vajo Grito Cha Tata Prema Bhaktim Swa Kame Prayagacha Namokshe Graho Mesti Damodareha Namaste stu damne spura dipchidam nege twai adhikairayatha vishvashadam ne Namo Radhikaya Itra Diya Prihaya Namo Nanta Lilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namo Rad Namam Sharam Sachit Anandadrupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Vrajamanam Yasoda Veo Luka Lanavamanam Paramishtamat Yantato Truchagopya Yurad Hadamodara Rad Hadamodara Rade Jayarad Akulokananurad Akulokananadrade Jayarad Hey Jayarad Hey Radhe Radhe Jayarad Hey Radhe Jayarad Jaya Shri Radhe Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paramacharya. All Siddhata Siddhashi Shimad, His Divine Grace Sabaya. Chandananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Ram say Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavanam Ki Jai. Mathuram Ki Jai. Jagadasami Ki Jai. Yamunamai Ki Jai. Srimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai. Samavita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bo. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, we'll read. To the Supreme Controller, who possesses an eternal form of blissful knowledge, whose glistening earrings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Gokula, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafters of their storerooms, and who then quickly jumped up and ran in retreat in fear of Mother Yashoda, but was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisances. Upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful and his breathing quick, and as Mother Yashoda bound his belly with ropes, he shivered in fright and his pearl necklace shook. To the Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, who is bound by his devotees' love, I offer my humble obeisances. Those super excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drowned the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. To the devotees who were attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayan and Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodar, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you were able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for liberation or eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. My only prayer is that your childhood pastimes may constantly appear in my mind. O Lord, I do not even want to know your featured Paramatma. I simply wish that your childhood pastimes may ever be enacted in my heart. O Lord, the cheeks of your blackest lotus face, which is encircled by locks of curling hair, have become reddened like bimba fruit due to Mother Yashoda's kisses. What more can I describe than this? Millions of opulences are of no use to me, but may this vision constantly remain in my mind. O unlimited Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be pleased upon me. I am drowning in an ocean of sorrow and am almost like a dead man. Please shower the rain of mercy upon me, uplift me, and protect me with your nectarian vision. O Lord Damodar, in your form as a baby, Mother Yashoda bound you to a grinding stone with a rope for tying cows. You then freed the sons of Kuvera, Manigriva Nala Kuvara, who were cursed to stand as trees, and you gave them the chance to become your devotees. Please bless me in the same way. I have no desire for liberation at your effulgence. O Lord, the entire universe was created by Lord Brahma, who was born from your abdomen, which was bound with a rope by Mother Yashoda. To this rope I offer my humble obeisances. I offer my obeisances to your most beloved Srimati Radharani and to your unlimited pastimes. Jai, Lord Damodar ki Jai.